Hi, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and today I want to talk about strings for a recurve bow. Now, unlike a compound bow, strings for a recurve bow are probably a little bit more complex. With compound bows, you generally use 452X. There's a few more materials you can use, but it's generally all pretty simple. You use large groove nocks with a compound bow, so it's pretty simple. With a recurve, you've got two options to start with. So you've got small groove or large groove nocks. That's depending on the thickness of the string. So even with recurve strings, there's three types of strings you can generally use. Dacron, which is the softest of the strings, which has got the most stretch on the strings, most normally used for traditional recurve bows. Fast Flight replaced Dacron strings for generally tournament archery, and it's still used today in tournament archery. The Koreans are very famous for using Fast Flight strings. They claim it's more forgiving. This is 8125 string material. It's used in compounds and less stretch than the Fast Flight material. So it theoretically is a little bit quicker. Now I have done a video before where I've compared the Fast Flight to the 8125 and found it pretty similar. But today I was like, it was before a tournament and I was like, I've got to change my string. Because you do it the day before the tournament, obviously. So I was shooting outside the day before the tournament and I was like, my bow's making a fair bit of noise. So I thought, let's go down to the archery shop and put a new string on the bow. Now a 68-inch string for a recurve is not 68 inches. It's generally about 4 inches shorter. So I measured up the Win and Win string out of the box and it was 64 inches long. Now my bow's a 68 inches, 68-inch bow. Now the string on my bow that I took off, that I've been shooting for a year, that I made, I think it was out of Fast Flight, was 65 inches long. Now it is common that when you make a string, you'll make it at 64.5 inches long. Okay, so my string had stretched between somewhere around half an inch over about a year. So then I was like, well, the Win and Win string, I wasn't real happy about the quality of the center serving. So the quality of the center serving varies from obviously string to string, and as well as the end servings here. If you use, I use Halo here for a center serving because it lasts forever. So the string I had on my bow was over a year old. I used Halo serving on the ends here and it hadn't worn out after a year. If you use cheaper stuff, it can wear out as quick as a month. So it is expensive, but I was like, if it lasts, it lasts. So the first thing I did was make up this string that I've got on this bow. So I made it 20 strands. So for a Fast Flight string, it'll normally be 16 or 18 strands. I normally use large groove nocks. I was shooting biter nocks. So I made it, this string I made 20 strands. And then I had to fit the center of the serving here so it fitted my nock. So I had to serve it with a serving. Now the center serving comes in all different sizes. So to make my large groove nocks fit, I had to go for the largest of the servings, which was 24. Now, when I clicked it on the string, it felt really good. The problem was after I shot a few arrows, I'm going to try and zoom in on it. So I've been shooting this string for about a few weeks now. About 2 weeks. The center serving kind of pushes in a little bit and kind of becomes loose. So now I'm shooting small groove nocks, so as opposed to large groove, and these are Fivix nocks. There's a reason why I went to these. So I had no choice but to go for small groove nocks with this string because there was no thicker center serving I could use. So my next option was to make a 22 strand string, which I made. We made the center serving for it, and unfortunately I don't know what size center serving it was, just to fit the large groove nocks. Again, once I started shooting the nocks, it became too loose, so then I reserved it. Same thing occurred. So then I'm shooting small groove nocks with that one as well. Then I also made a 24 strand string. And I'm going to guess it's actually going to be tight with these nocks because that was made to fit the large groove nocks as well. So my question is, what's the difference between 20 strand, 22 strand and 24 strand? And also, what's the difference as far as shooting is concerned? So many recurve archers get so stressed about strings, and when I say stressed, it's like, well, what size is it? Is it 64.5? Is it 64.7? Is it 64.3? Now, in my own experience, having that string on my bow for a year, which obviously stretched between an inch, half an inch to an inch over everything, I saw no difference in shootability. In fact, I was shooting my best scores literally before I changed the string the day before the competition. But the string was becoming noisy on the bow. That's because there was a bit of limb slap and I was whacking my arm a little bit because the brace height was being reduced. With a bigger brace height string, so a shorter string, there was less slap on the limbs and it's not getting near my arm, so I was getting less vibration. So this string was made at 64.5. So what I thought I'd do, now I've been shooting this string for a while and I'm not shooting too bad of scores with it. This is a string I shot in the competition last weekend, which I almost won, but I didn't. I was winning till the very end. So this is the string I shot. Now, again, we're just going to try stuff out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot this through the chronograph and see what score we get. Now when it comes to strings, the ideal solution to me would have been to have a chart up on the wall which says 22 strand. If you want small groove, then you need this size serve, and if you want 22 strand and you want large groove, you need this center size serving. So that's what I wanted to get to, which I didn't get to, but that's where I want to get to. But this fits quite nice on the string. You can see it doesn't take too much force to get it off. I'm more than happy with that. Now when it comes to whether you want large groove or small groove, that's personal preference. I was actually looking for a thicker string. Now the reason was, rightly or wrongly, I was looking to protect my fingers more because my fingers were hurting. I was getting nerve damage to the center finger here. It was really hurting a lot and still is hurting. That's what I was trying to avoid, so I thought, well, a thicker string would be better for me because it will hurt my fingers less. Now generally, I think the thing is with strings, the thinner strings are generally a little bit quicker than the thicker strings, and I think the thicker strings are a little bit more stable, but I haven't really found much difference. So let's shoot some arrows and sort of see. Okay, that was 221 feet per second. That's with a 20 strand string. That's a VAP. The limbs are around 50 pound. This is a VAP 600. I think I've got 120 grain points in the front end. So now we're going to fit a 22 strand string and compare the speed. This bow feels quiet now, substantially quieter. Doesn't hit my arm and I'm feeling comfortable shooting it, but I'm still trying to get things settled. And when I say get things settled, I'm still focusing on myself. So people are like, well, always concentrate on the equipment. I'm always about concentrating on myself, because if I change my body position, if I change my arm position, if I change how my hand comes away from my face, if I change this shoulder position in or out, if I change anything, it affects the arrow. So I don't worry that much about the strings. So when people come in and they go, hey, well, like, I'm worried about this. Look, if you're an elite archer, then maybe. Like, I don't know. For me, everything's about me, the archer, shooting. So I don't tend to worry about stuff. So I had a customer come in the shop the other day. He said, I want the string to be stretchy, I think he said. And he had a 68-inch bow, so we gave him a 68-inch string. And he said, I want it to be stretchy. So I think we sold him a Dacron string, but he wanted it to be longer and he wanted it to be twisted up. So then he brought a 70-inch string, and we're like, that's not going to work because it's 2 inches longer than what you need it to be, and stretching up's not a good thing because then it creates more stretch. But I suppose, like, if you can make the strings yourself and experiment with stuff, well, it's okay, right? Now, my thing is to make these strings. Each string takes me about an hour to make. And I replaced the center servings a few times. I've got to tie the little knocking points on. It took me a fair bit of time, and this was the day before the competition where I prefer to be shooting. So anyway, we're going to compare the speeds and see how this goes. Okay, so this is my original string. So my original string is this one, the red one, and this is the winner win string. So you can see how much it's sort of stretched. So it's almost an inch. Now I really didn't see any difference between them. The reason I don't shoot the win and win string is because the center serving here is not halo, and this is my original one. So this is over a year old. And you can see it's had minimal wear. I mean, you can see it's been shot a lot. The ends still look good. So that's my original string, and that's about a year old. So now I've fitted the new 22 strand string to the bow. We'll just compare the nocks. That's not too bad. So I think it'd be similar, and I expect the speed to be similar. So we had 221. .218, so we've lost 3 feet per second. We'll just shoot another one. Now that string felt quite quiet, so now you're going to say, why didn't I shoot this string in the competition? I guess I just felt a little bit more comfortable with the string I've been shooting for about a week before the competition. This string I actually made up on the day of the competition, or the day before the competition. .217. So effectively we lost about 3 to 4 feet per second. But the bow sounds quite quiet, feels quite stable. I can't feel any difference in the poundage. Now, one string could be longer than the other. Now, a shorter string will generally be higher poundage, but it'll be bigger brace height here, so you'll actually be pulling less because you'll be less draw force, if that makes sense. If the brace height's there, you're actually drawing this bit of energy through the bow. So overall, I haven't found it makes much difference. So we're going to try the 24 strand string now and see what speed that does. Okay, so this is the 24 string. It looks the same as the 22 strand string. It was built for large nocks. So let's just compare these nocks. This string has not been shot. Now, the nocks are a fair bit tighter on the string, and I'd probably prefer large groove with that tightness. Now, the problem is once you start shooting it, you then might be down to small groove again. So you kind of got to shoot it, see how it kind of goes, but we're just going to shoot this through the chronograph, see how the bow sounds. So why was I making strings the night before a competition? Because those nocks, the more I shot it, was starting to sort of come loose, and I didn't want to shoot an arrow and the nock to fall off, and basically the arrow to fall in front of the target. So I didn't want to miss the target, basically. Not that I'd miss one, I didn't want that playing on my head at a tournament. So that's why I was making a string the night before. That was 219. The bow sounded very quiet. .217, 219, one more. Now the string, the nocks are definitely tighter on the string. There's no knocking points on that, but I don't think that's really affecting the speed. Maybe it is 1 or 2 feet per second, but really it's not a lot, because this is getting about the same sort of speed as the 22 strand string. .219 again. Okay, so my summary. Now I have not shot the 22 strand string or the 24 strand string yet to compare the results. The thickness of the string and the thickness of the string will affect the tune a little bit. So what I'm more interested in is how the bow sounds, because I don't want to annoy the neighbours. But I'm also interested in how the arrows perform, as far as do I shoot better scores or not with different strings. So what I've been doing is I've been shooting scores, indoor scores, with the current string I'm shooting. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the 22 strand string and shoot scores with that and see if they pick up. So my scores with my latest string I've been shooting have varied between 277 and 273 for an indoor round, which I'm happy with. With my old string, the one before that, I was shooting mid 280s for indoors. So, and I was extremely ecstatic with that. But then I hurt my finger and I had to have a bit of a break to let it heal. So the 270s, I'm still happy with. So now I shoot the 22 strand and so see how that goes. Now I don't know if the scores will go up or go down or where they're going to go, whether it's more forgiving or not. They definitely they don't sound much difference between the 20, 22 or 24. If anything, I'm going to say the 24 is quieter than the 20s, which is probably what you expect because there's less slap. But less speed. So there's less speed than the 20, that's for certain. Then what I'd probably also try is I'd probably try the fast flight material. So that's a 652 if you're shooting BCY, because the Koreans believe that string is a little bit more forgiving to shoot. Once again, I have not seen any of this, and I'm going to say the difference is minor. So when you think, oh, is my score going to improve from a 230 to a 270? It ain't. It ain't going to move that much. Well, I'm looking for like a couple of points. If I can pick up a couple of points, that's cool. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a couple of points, and I'm still trying to focus on my own shooting. So every shot I take, I don't shoot with the chest guard. If it hits my chest, I'm like, well, I didn't do something right. If it hits my arm, I didn't do something right. So I'm trying to work on my shooting, on the timing of my shots, on the whole posture of the shots, how I'm feeling as far as strength, fatiguing. Do I fatigue after 90 arrows, after 72 arrows? At what point do I fatigue? Am I aiming too long? I'm focusing on all that, not so much the string. Now, again, on the strings, if you're going to do an archery shop, and you're requesting a string, like in my shop I have a lot of my staff are recurve archers, so I have like the Australian recurve archer of the year, junior archer of the year, who works for me. I have a person who won the state recurve barebow and shot similar scores to the sighted recurve shooters, and I have a guy who came second in the recurve open division, shoots recurve. So when you come in and you ask about what size string do I get, and you're like, look, I want it to be like this, and they look and they go, well, you know, like I can't trade the string back in once you've used it. The thing they're going to say, the thing that they're thinking is go practice more. Guarantee you they are thinking go practice more, because the string is not going to make that much difference to your shooting ability. And it's fine for you to try out different strings and go, well, look, I want to try a 20 strand, 22 strand, I want to try a 64.5 inch string, a 64.3 inch string, a 67.3 inch string. Look, whatever you want to try, you can try. I want to try large groove, small groove. That's all fine. You know, people can make those strings for you. We sell them for about $40 for a custom string. But, you know, you can't expect to go in there and say, look, I want a refund because I don't feel the string's right for me or something like that, because they've just spent an hour building that string for you, and time is money, so to speak. You know, they don't work for free. Materials cost money. So, again, like if you go shoot, the more you shoot, the better you're going to shoot, and don't worry so much about the equipment. I've shot all the different types. I've shot different lengths. That string was a year old. No difference. In fact, the old string was what I shot the best scores with. Just was making too much noise. So with that, hope it's been informative, and hope you enjoy your archery. Thanks for watching. Bye.